Opposites Attract podcast. This is Sonia Ramirez, your girl, and I'm sitting next to
Miguel Ramirez.
What's up, everybody? How is your day?
How was your week?
How is your life?
Going. And make sure you guys go to our website, oppositesattractpodcast.com. Is this loud, like extra loud today? Or is it just me?
It's just you. You're
all right.
Just always
I don't know.
in
Whatever.
my ear.
Make sure you guys go to our website, share it with the people that you know. Like I've said before, the best thing that you can do is share this. Find a clip from our Clips channel on YouTube and share it with somebody else. Let them know that the podcast is out there. Tell them to like, to comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Share it. Yep.
Why are you talking crap about my hair?
I was just saying, I'm trying to help you out, yo.
What?
You guys got to watch this on YouTube or Facebook. I said that right before we started. I said a bird was going to land in your head.
Why?
That's probably not a nice thing for a husband to say.
Because it's fluffy?
Yeah, it looks nice. Nice and curly.
You didn't say it looked nice.
Hey.
You said you got a lot going on there.
Nature is beautiful. And you look at a bird's nest sometimes.
I'm going to kick your ass.
All right. That is not how to compliment women.
Yeah.
Hey, you still got the, what are you wearing? You still got the tag on it.
Shut up.
Right there. You got
Do
the
I?
QR. Yeah, pull it to the side. Right
What
there.
am I wearing? Oh, I see. In case you guys want to buy
Yeah, you guys can
sweatshirts,
check out
Fighting for Your Life.
Fighting for Your Life podcast merch.
Take a picture of this QR code. No.
Yep. I don't know if that'll work. I don't know. Actually, I wonder what that would scan.
Yeah.
Anyway,
That's
but
interesting.
yeah, I got some new merch for my Fighting for Your Life podcast. If you guys want to search it, you can go to Amazon and just search Fighting for Your Life podcast hoodie. And there's pullovers, there's zip ups, and there's a couple different styles. So check it out. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it's on Amazon, and you get it in like 2 or 3 days. Like, I mean, you get the Amazon Prime, benefit. Like it comes in a couple days.
So I was asking you, where's our merch? Where
Yeah,
are our hoodies? Where are our pullovers?
I haven't
and Miguel said it would be weird to wear our faces.
Yeah.
On our. But I don't. How would you all feel about that? Would other people like? How do we feel? Do you wear Joe Rogan's face on your shirt?
No.
Or
but that's the thing is that you have to think about Joe Rogan wearing a Joe Rogan fucking t-shirt.
Right.
That's fucking weird.
Yeah.
So like I actually thought about this like when we first like we talked about on the last podcast. We were kind of like reminiscing on podcasting for 5 years on the last one if you didn't check that one out. But I remember when we first started and I first made the merch, the t-shirts and all that, and I was traveling for work, right?
Uh-huh.
But it was during COVID, so you had to wear a mask all the time. So you could kind of maybe think like that might be the dude that's on the fucking t-shirt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm wearing a mask. But when you can clearly see that this dude is wearing a t-shirt of himself, that's fucking weird.
Or is that a judgment
Like,
from within?
Look, that's his face.
When because I would wear our shirts like to the gym or whatever, I didn't feel a certain way.
Yeah. No, I don't think it really matters.
But unless you care about what other people think, I don't know.
But I think it is also different, like the style of this logo and the style of the Fighting for Your Life logo is different. Like this is a logo with me and you, where the other one's more of like an art logo.
Well, we're wearing it, so yeah.
So if you guys want to check it out, you
so
can go
then
to
we were
Amazon,
talking about maybe
making
changing
different
the logo,
styles, or
but I don't know.
We'll figure.
The logo is our logo. Like it's our. I would be sad.
Well, maybe we could figure out something different. I don't know, but yeah, like I mean, it happens with things over time. They refresh their stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah. So I've been getting to experience Miguel and his playmates.
Yeah.
His friends. How long have you guys known each other?
Man, this is crazy. We've known each other for about minimum is 30 years.
Well, how old were you all when?
We were about 5 or 6 when we met.
5 or 6.
Yeah.
And so you and Juan.
And I'm 41 now. So we've been friends for 30 plus, probably like 35 years.
And how did you and Juan meet?
So for those of you that are just checking out the podcast, we're in Arizona, right? And I grew up in New York City. So I used to visit my, I pretty much grew up at my grandmother's house in her building. And this is New York. You got to, we were in a 6-story building. My grandmother lived on the 5th floor. And she was in apartment 501. And down the hall in apartment 504 was another kid. So when I would go visit my grandmother, there was one point when I was like 5, she was like, hey, there's a boy that I want to introduce you to, because when she would be going to her apartment, he would put his pictures from like kindergarten or 1st grade.
His mom would put them up.
Yeah, they would put them up on the outside of the door so that people that were walking in the hallway could see like your art. It's kind of
right.
like a refrigerator door, but on the outside, right? Yeah. So my grandmother would see it, and then she would obviously see him when they were kind of showing up at the same time or whatever. And I guess she had told him one time, I have a grandson that I want to introduce you to, and she had told me the same thing. Yeah. And then one day, it just happened. She was like, hey, here's Juan, and that was it. Like every time that I would go to my grandmother's house, it was like, as soon as I would go get there, drop my stuff off. Can I go to Juan's? Yeah. Okay. And then I would go to Juan's. And then Juan lived in the building. So Juan knew a bunch of the other kids. And then I started getting to know all the other kids. And then I was there like every day, just about, you know? So we just all grew up together in that building. Yeah. So Juan was in 504. Then we had Francisco up on the 6th floor. We had Rock on the 6th floor, his brother. Then on the 2nd floor, we had Muhammad, we had Peter, we had Robert, and then we had the other friends in the other building. We had, and that's just, we would start at the 5th floor, go get the other friend, go down to the 2nd floor, get the other friend. We would all end up meeting up at the lobby.
So these are the things you used to do when you guys were younger. Now, when you guys started to get older and become teenagers, what is the craziest thing that you remember doing? That you think back today, like, oh my God, I don't believe we did that, or I don't believe we got away with that, or like, what are the things for the age? What are the things that come up to you?
I think it was just we were talking about it yesterday. Like, some of the stuff doesn't even sound real. Like Halloween in New York doesn't sound real. That's one of them. With the eggs and the shaving cream, like having to be 18 to buy eggs in the month of October, having to be 18 to buy shaving creams in October, like the cops stopping you and checking your backpacks for eggs, and they would just like smash the eggs. Like they would smack your pockets. Like imagine cops like just smacking you today.
Right.
Like you can't do that. You're going to get somebody's got that shit on camera. They're fucked now.
Right,
back in the day, we would have eggs in our pockets because we would go around throwing eggs.
And these are raw eggs?
Yeah.
That you would throw at people?
So once the sun went down and the trick-or-treating, the little kids were done trick-or-treating, the streets just erupted on Halloween. It's literally, it's hard to like imagine. You can find some stuff on YouTube. You'll see like little kids just covered in shaving cream and eggs and stuff. But yeah, so at night, the kids would have backpacks with cartons of eggs in their bags, and then they would have eggs in the pockets, eggs in the hoodie, and you would just have a mask or just paint your face black so that you could just kind of get away and run around. And if the cops caught you, they would open up your backpack, they would just dump your eggs on the street and break them all. And they knew you had eggs probably in your hoodie, in your pocket. You were probably holding them in your hand so you could throw them at somebody.
Right.
So they would just smack you. And your eggs would just bust in your pocket. Yeah. And then
running down your leg.
You run back to your house, grab more eggs, run back out, and then maybe the cops catch you, but they would just do it and let you go.
Where did you get the money to buy the eggs?
Oh, we were saving money. We were working. I was working at a club as a kid. That was a nightclub. That was kind of crazy. That's kind of stuff that really, I don't know if that happens in other places, but it happened in New York.
How old were you when you first started drinking?
Probably like 12.
Shut up.
Yeah.
You were younger than Joey?
Yeah.
And how would you get your...
Like drinking where I was drunk and nobody was around? Yeah.
And how would you get your alcohol?
Well, my dad, growing up, used to throw parties and stuff, so we used to keep everything at the house. He used to rent like the halls.
Space.
Yeah, the halls at the hotel where you would have a party or whatever. Well, he had a party that was more like a nightclub, and he would sell drinks and all that.
And he wouldn't notice his stash?
No, so he would stay the night at the hotel after the party, and then we would take everything back to the house, and I didn't want to stay at the hotel, and he didn't want me to stay at the hotel. So I would just go back home with all the DJ equipment, with all the liquor and the beer and everything.
And what made you think that was okay?
Babe, I was
like
a kid.
To drink
what are you
12?
like trying to fucking analyze me? I wasn't thinking that shit at 12. Who gives a fuck?
Like my parents gonna kick my ass or something. You know what I'm saying? Like I was there's no way I would have even thought to do that because my mom would have kicked my ass.
That's the thing, is that it was the day after the party. So nothing was counted yet.
Yeah.
There was like, if I drank, I mean, I was also 12. So what? A few drinks and I was going to be freaking trashed. So you're not going to notice a few drinks. And if I invited my friends over and it was 3 of us, you're not going to notice, 9 drinks missing.
I remember you telling me that you guys would buy 40s though.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It was
how
a different
did that
place.
happen?
So that was a little bit later, probably about 14. That was with my friends that I'm hanging out with now. There was a couple stores where they knew us, and one of them would actually tell you, one of you stand outside and look for the cops.
Are you kidding me?
One of you stand outside and look for the cops while your other friends go and grab whatever you want. Hell yeah, we had the hookup.
That is so crazy. That is just so crazy.
And then, so we had another place where they just wouldn't ask. Mm-hmm. But then we also had a place to get a fake ID in Chinatown. So, this is growing up in New York.
So Miguel, you were living the life as a 21-year-old at the age of 12.
Pretty much.
And this is how you and I work, because by the time you got with me, you were partied out.
Dude, at 21, like in the military, like I did party and I did, it was crazy and shit, but like I didn't have to go completely ape shit. I mean, I did, but not like for extended periods of time, because it was like, all right, dude, enough of this shit. Like I've been around this forever. Yeah,
because you were clubbing. I mean, you were working at the club, but you guys were still.
No, but even when we were 15 in New York, you go to the clubs. They have teen clubs, like nightclubs.
Yeah, but they don't serve alcohol.
But you think the fucking teens got there sober? We would have bottles of Alizé on the train and we would be getting drunk on the way to the club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so Miguel is 6 years younger than I. And one of the reasons why I would not date anyone younger than I is because, I'm like, they still have all this stuff within them that they need to release, that they need to experience. But when you and I met, you were done, played out.
Yeah, that's why, like, with my friend Juan and Rob that are here visiting, we were yesterday, because it's Halloween, and we were thinking about, like, some of the Halloweens of the past, and it's like, I'm telling you, it doesn't sound real when you share some of the stuff with people, like getting caught by, like, a gang of people and getting eggs thrown at you and then getting stopped by the cops, and the power trucks on that night, for some reason, they would come out. Like in New York City, you would see the power trucks driving around fixing stuff or whatever. But it seemed like for some reason on Halloween night, they would just be out driving through the neighborhood. They were targets for everybody that had, like, we would fuck each other up. But if you saw the Con Edison truck driving around, they would get destroyed. Like everybody's like, all the attention turns towards the truck. And I don't even know how they drove, because they would cover the windshield with shaving cream. It's just fucking eggs flying towards the truck, just shit splattering everywhere. Yeah. It was a blast.
So they were here last night and they got to experience our neighborhood, because we go all out here in our neighborhood.
Look up Santa Rita Ranch Halloween. Just search it on TikTok, search it on TikTok, YouTube. Yeah.
And so they got to experience it. And what was their response or their reaction?
Oh, they loved it. Yeah, they thought it was really cool. Just like how everybody gets involved and decorates together, and it's I think my friend Rob was like, it's cool how everybody comes together, and he was kind of like thinking about how we all came together as kids. Yeah. But that was a different kind of coming together. This is like a come together and give out candy and have a good time with people. Right. There we came together to throw eggs at each other.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a different coming together.
Yeah, that's funny.
So, yeah.
Very cool.
But yeah, it's going to be fun. And by the time you guys listen to this, Halloween is already over. So happy Halloween to everybody.
Yes.
Dude, it's crazy like how fast this year is just flying by. That's what I was just thinking. It is insane. And oh my God, dude. Like we've mentioned it like the past like 7 podcasts that it's just been one thing after the other.
Yeah.
But like literally we were talking about on the last episode, we've had our oldest daughter here visiting us for a while. Literally the day that she left, my friends got here. And they're going to be here this week, which is awesome, which is like, I love having them here and having this time with them. Next week, we're going to Prescott to go watch Joe Coy with the kids. So it's another thing that we're doing. That's going to be fun.
Your mom's moving here. She got the house.
My mom's moving here.
Yes. That is so cool.
Also, in one of these next coming up weekends, the Street Beefs guys, Street Beefs West Coast and Street Beefs on YouTube, the guys that like do the backyard fighting and all that, check them out.
Yeah.
They have like a football event that I said that I was going to go to. I think it's already in my calendar, but that's one of these weekends coming up. The weekend after next, I have my jiu-jitsu tournament. You know, my friends are here trying to get my training in, but I'm also trying to spend time with them. It's a lot.
Yeah. I told them.
And we got to record, edit all this,
right.
You know.
I told them when they first got here, I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right, guys, just so you know, I'm not used to sharing my man.
Yeah.
They just started laughing.
It was so funny because Joey's like, your friends are coming over. He's like, you're having a sleepover?
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. But, hilarious. Yeah. So during yesterday or was it the day before, we got in and I went to go just be with Adriana, give her a kiss goodnight. And I think we had mentioned it on this podcast that she's going through a breakup, right? Like she, this young man that she's been dating for 2 years, actually.
Young boy.
Yeah, young boy. She was dating, for 2 years, and she, and I remember specifically just seeing the relationship and it reminding me a lot of my first relationship. And as a teenager, for some reason, my mom felt safer allowing me to do things with him versus girlfriends. So I never really got the chance to have, I have friends that I've known from back then, but it's different when you're able to spend time with them, to grow the relationship, to really get to know them, to hang out with them, to have the experiences that you had with your friends. Yeah. I never really got to have those experiences. And my mom was strict, but it's weird because it was strict more so when it was me hanging out with other girls versus my boyfriend. I remember us going camping and her allowing me to have my own tent with him. At Audrey's age, we would not be okay with that.
No.
Right?
Hell no.
But she was okay with that.
Yeah.
But when it came to me hanging out with my friends, it was like, no. Where are you going to be? Right? It was very... So for me, when Adriana got into this relationship, I was like, part of me was like, no, because I wanted her to experience having girlfriends and being able to bond, with girls. And so anyways, when she got into this relationship, I, talked to her about that. And I saw that, it was everything revolved around their relationship.
Yeah.
Right? She even decided that she was no longer going to play softball in club because it took a lot of her time and she wanted to spend time with him. I mean, I know she didn't come out and say that, but in a conversation with her and I felt that that's what was happening within her.
Possibly.
The passion was no longer there, but why was the passion no longer there? Because the passion was elsewhere, right? Anyways, so... she was in this relationship and they had a pretty good relationship, but there were some things that she was witnessing, that she was seeing about him. And she felt that she was lacking she started to recognize on her own that her little world of, being a teenager was revolving around him.
Yeah.
And so she made,
which happens when you're young,
a grown up decision to break it off, because she started to recognize these things about her and recognize these things about him. And I'm telling you, when she told me that she was going to call it off, there was this sense of not pride, but just, I guess, to see that she's making this decision for herself.
Yeah, and it's not an easy decision for her
at
to make.
all, because she really cared about him.
Yeah.
And, yesterday when I went up to her 2 days ago, I saw that she was...
It's because it's one of these decisions that is leading to their growth,
Right.
Yeah.
But for her to be mature enough to do that,
right.
knowing that it was going to break her heart.
It's a sign of her growth, and it's also leading to more growth.
Right.
Yeah.
And, she was feeling kind of down, and I saw her, and I'm like, hey, do you want me to come in? And she's like, yeah. So I sat with her, and I just grabbed her and I just held on to her.
Yeah.
And she just started bawling. And I just held her. And she just cried. And I asked nothing. I asked nothing. And towards the end, about maybe 20 minutes of me just holding her and her releasing and letting go, she's like, I just miss him. I'm like, I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's tough.
And after I just allowed her to let go and cry, it was like, so
that was it.
Like, yeah, she just had to let it go. She just had to release and let go. And then she was back to herself again. Like, she was okay,
Yeah.
And I just told her, like, man, I am so proud of you. I said, because there's some adults that are in some relationships that they know are not good for them, but they stay in it.
Yeah. There's a word for, or like a term for it, but like once you've invested so much time, like it makes it, the more time you invest, the harder it is to let something go because you've put so much time into it.
Yeah. I mean, I've been in that.
Yeah.
Even in
with
careers,
yeah.
just like,
Yeah.
And how difficult it was to pull away from that, because I thought that I was that. That was my identity.
Yeah.
And it's not like they had a bad relationship. Like,
no.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a couple things that I wanted to mention. But one thing you were saying earlier about, when you were younger and your mom, and like how she was okay with you having a tent with your boyfriend at Audrey's age, or just going out and being with him instead of being out with girlfriends, because you're going to go and get into shit with girlfriends or whatever. But this is something that's been coming up for me lately, and it's actually like we were talking about last week about the podcast over the years. I know that throughout the years, there's like certain threads that come up for a little while that we talk about, that I talk about, and lately for me, one of the, like, for one was like that existence is weird, or understanding that you don't understand is just like, it starts popping up everywhere. It's like, I don't understand what the hell's going on here. Or anyway, but recently it has to do with understanding people's way of thinking. And just like knowing that there are ways that people think that cannot be explained. Like, don't even spend time trying to figure out why do they think that? And it's just so weird. Like not being okay with letting your kid go hang out with her friends, but being okay with them sleeping in a tent with their boyfriend at 15. It's like, yeah, that's, I don't know. And, or like, I just had a jiu-jitsu tournament, and if I would have won my match, I would have had to fight somebody from my team. There's somebody that we were close to that was like, hopefully he loses so that he doesn't have to fight the guy from his team. Hopefully that I lose. I don't understand that way of thinking. Like, really? You know, and it comes up just throughout life. And brilliant fucking people. Like, in different ways, they are super smart. But in this one way, it's like, I don't get it. Mm-hmm. And it's just, it is what it is. Accepting life for what it is. You don't have to try to fucking understand everything. I recognize that something's up here. But it is what it is. And you don't have to take it personal, you know, like in my case.
Mm-hmm. With my mom, I can understand because she was with my dad at the age of 18. I mean 13. She got pregnant with my older sister at the age of 12. Not saying that I'm just like, and maybe she had experienced hanging out with girlfriends that were not that great. I don't know.
You don't have to do that.
But I'm just saying.
You don't have to do that.
Yeah.
You don't have to justify. You don't have to try to explain.
I never even really thought about why that was okay. And maybe I should ask her. I'd be very curious to get her response, to hear why she felt more comfortable. You know?
Yeah.
Out of curiosity.
But these are just two things, but it comes up everywhere. Everywhere. Like, you just talk to somebody and they'll say something. It's like, that's odd.
Yeah. We are who we are.
Yeah.
Right. That's what makes us different.
Yeah. So, also speaking about relationships, one thing that we've talked about in the past on this podcast, and something that you were, I don't think you mentioned it, but with Audrey, and especially being young, you know, I was going to say especially, it shouldn't be especially being young, because why should you accept being controlled by anyone at any age? Why is it okay that when you settle in, I don't know exactly how to explain. Do you know what I'm getting at? Where you'll get into a relationship with somebody and then now you can't do certain things because the other person does not allow, or they will throw a fucking fit, or they will whatever. And it's like, first of all, there's things that I don't want to do because I value our relationship, because I love you, because I don't need fucking rules. You know, I have rules for myself. But when you are controlling somebody else, like, as beings on this planet, I don't feel that anybody has the right to control anybody in any way. You know? And I think that is a big part of the foundation of our relationship. And it's hard to explain in a certain way. But I've talked about Alan Watts in the past, and I've shared with you, some of his teachings and stuff like that. And I wanted to kind of share something that I listened to, that little clip about that kind of talks about that a little bit. Let me do that. And here we go. Of course not.
The important you is perfectly indestructible. It's what there is. Our comings and goings, our fortunes and misfortunes are a sort of mirage. The more we know about them, the more we know about the world, the more diaphanous it seems. And therefore everything in the world has the characteristics of smoke. When you blow a cigarette or pipe or something and a cloud of smoke and you see it in the sunbeam, and it's full of whorls and designs and all kinds of marvelous things going on, and then slowly it disappears. Well, everything's just like that. Now, there are two attitudes you can take to that state of affairs. You can say sour grapes. It's all a lousy, wretched trap. And here I am, and I'm given all these feelings of love and attachment and joy of life, and then I fall apart. My teeth drop out, my eyes become feeble, I get cancer or cirrhosis of the liver or something, and then it all falls apart, and it's too bad. Therefore, don't become attached to things. Don't enjoy life. Treat it, holding it off like that, just like a very, very firm person who's been jilted and says, never again will I get mixed up with love, because love hurts.
Man, that's a terrible way to look at life. I mean, if you think about, you are not in control. This shit is going to happen to you whether you like it or not. It's coming like a fucking train. You're not stopping it. And if you're looking at life like this, you're fighting it. You're like in front of that train fighting it the entire way. Because this is all a fucking scam. It's all going to be over. We're all going to fucking die. Like none of this shit fucking matters. If you're looking at it like that, or dude, you could have just not been born at all, but you have the opportunity to experience this, right, to experience life, to maybe you get your fucking heart broken, but you experience what love is. I mean, I can't imagine what a person goes through when they lose a kid. But you can't imagine what it's like to love a kid if you don't have one.
Yeah.
I just got done dropping Joey off. And when I was giving him a hug, I'm just like, fuck. I get to be his dad. Yeah. And there's no way. But if it's like, well, fuck, this shit all, it's all fake. It all falls apart. That's a terrible way to live life. The glass is always half empty. But let's keep going.
On the other hand, a weaving of smoke can be very beautiful, provided you don't lean on it, provided you don't try to preserve it, catch hold of it. Then you destroy it. So exactly the same way, there's nothing in the way of form that you can lean on,
you can control,
that you can grasp. And if you see that, then the world of form is very beautiful. If you let it go, to love people, you see, if you're husband and wife, you must let each other go. Otherwise, the marriage is either going to break up or it's going to be hell. If you love a person, you say to that person, look, I love you, whatever that may be. I've seen quite a bit of it, and I know there's lots that I haven't seen. But still, it's you, and I want you to be what you want to be. And I won't be happy if I've got you in a cage. You'll be a bird without song. And
yeah.
You'd be a bird without song.
Yeah.
And earlier I was going to say, like, especially if you're young, like, you should be free. But why is it okay that when you get older, you can just allow yourself to be accustomed to being in a controlling relationship?
As soon as when you said that earlier, my body just constricted. Just right? Because I've experienced that.
Yeah.
You know?
There's been something about me, and it's something that I've been wanting to share with Joey, but share with everybody. We'll share with the kids. I don't know if this maybe I picked it up when it had to do with sex, but I don't know if it has to do with my dad and all the porn that he used to sell at work. That's another part of my growing up. That's fucking crazy. That's another one. Yeah. But I would see from time to time and understand, like, when a girl would tell a guy, if you don't do this, then you're not getting any. And then I would see how certain people would react to that. And I was like, oh, fucking hell no. And not just that, but I've noticed that type of an ultimatum, whatever, in a lot of things. And whenever I see something like that, I'll fight it. I'll either come fucking face to face. Like, in the past, if a girl's ever fucking told me that, you could kick fucking rocks. You can get the fuck out. Matter of fact, I'd be like, I know I fuck good, so you can get the fuck out. Like, I don't know what, because it's a manipulation, it's a control, and people will fucking fall for that shit. Like, there's something about that. I mean, you might laugh or whatever, but there is. When people are like, it's either my way or you fucking get out.
I'm laughing at the example you gave.
I'm just saying, you know it's true.
We're trying to keep this all, oh yeah, and then Miguel has to bring this up. No.
But how many times have you seen that? How many times have people used it?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know where that came from. But
I know. Like,
anyway,
what?
no, but it's just kind of like telling the kids, like, to be aware of when people are trying to put you in these fucking positions where it's like an ultimatum. If you don't this, then you don't get. And it's like, you know what? I don't want anything to do with any of this fucking shit now.
Yeah.
I'm out. I'm completely out. When a girl tells you that, get the fuck out.
Mm-hmm.
Right? What's the type of person that says something like that?
Yeah.
Get out.
Yeah. Is there another example you can give?
Babe, it happens in politics. It happens, but that's probably the most fucking like, what would you call primal one? Fucking sex.
I don't know. I've never. Yeah. I've heard, but I don't have
you've heard.
any
I've heard
friends or people that use that. I guess
using
men,
sex. You don't have to say the thing is that when you're young, this is, you want some real shit? When you're young, that's what you hear. If you don't when you're young and in high school and girls and boys are fucking dumb, girls will stupidly say that straight up. But as girls that say that type of shit get older, they also get smarter and they get better at saying the same shit in a more manipulating way. They don't have to say, if you don't do this, I'm not doing that. Mm-hmm. They'll say it in a different way, or they won't have to say it. They'll act a certain way that is the same exact fucking intention.
Yeah, that's a form
of manipulation. It's a form of control.
Yeah, it's a form of control.
If you go out with your friends, then I'm not going to give you any when you come back. Or if you go out with your friend, now you're going to have fucking problems when you get back because I'm going to be pissed. I'm going to be throwing a fucking fit and all this other shit.
Yeah.
The guy can do that same shit too because you're big, you're strong, and you're fucking scary. So she doesn't want to come home to a fucking dude that's all crazy and pissed.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
that's fucking scary.
There's many forms of
So you can't go out with your girlfriends. You guys can't go watch that movie that you guys been talking about. You can't. And sometimes the shit is just like, it makes zero fucking sense.
Yeah. No, it's
you can't wear that. You can't fucking this.
It's a sign of insecurity. lack of confidence.
There's just something about that. Anytime you're trying to fucking manipulate, control any of that shit, you know what you're doing. You're going to get fucked up in life.
Yeah. It's funny because with you and I, like, you gave me complete freedom. Like, complete freedom, right? And how much time do we have?
We got another 20 minutes. What you trying to get into?
It's going to be rough.
Do you feel like you gave, like, that you didn't give me freedom? Like, do you
How am
feel
I not going to give you freedom?
Wait, no, I'm saying, like, do you feel like you ever controlled me in our relationship? Like,
No.
you say that I gave you freedom.
Yeah.
But do you feel like you ever controlled me?
No.
Do you feel like you ever tried to control me?
I don't think so. What do you think? I don't know.
Do you think you ever could have controlled me? Let me answer that for you. No. I'm just kidding.
Well, the woman that was before you controlled you a bit.
No,
Yes, she did. Let's get real.
Okay.
When it came to Michaela, your daughter, there was control there. And I don't know about the relationship when you were in the relationship, you know.
Yeah, it was
but it was almost out of your.
It was a different situation because there was things that I wasn't doing. There was like certain, but I knew it was over.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like a control type of thing. I'm like, I'm just fucking riding this out till the end.
And most people, when you do try to control them, and they have the mindset or the being that you have,
that is why the relationship ended. Because
rebel,
of control,
right? Rebel, like, and that's what happens with when you don't have that trust within, like, for your children, right? What do they do when you try to control the situation?
Oh, they
rebel.
Crazy. The preacher's
right?
daughter, yeah.
You know, I'm just trying to think to the beginning of our relationship and where we were.
You know
then.
What? I think do you think that maybe you didn't control me because you kind of knew that it was a sign of an insecurity in a way? Like, so even though if I wanted to go do something, even though I really don't do much.
Yeah.
But.
No, because even I'm thinking of my relationships before you.
Okay.
If any one of them would have said, Sonja's controlling. It
wouldn't have made sense.
No.
Yeah.
Because I just wasn't that.
Yeah, and I don't remember that from you either.
You know?
So yeah. No.
But because I didn't want that. I was a part of I was in a relationship
that was like that.
That was like that.
How did you fuck that, man. That's terrible.
You know? And I love to dance. I'm friendly. I'm an extrovert.
Yeah.
But because of his own insecurities, that was considered flirting, or that was, you know what I'm saying? And I didn't feel that I could, I mean, it just all, what do? You rebel, you do the thing, you know, and then.
Yeah, at a certain point, you've had enough. Fuck this.
And then it breaks, and then you're done, and then you're, you know, and now at that point, I knew what I did not want. And so.
You know, and kind of like with Audrey, we were talking about earlier, like she's young and this is her first relationship. Mm-hmm. And going through different relationships, you learn different shit, you know?
Yeah. And as a parent, just being there to love on them and to give them advice when they ask for advice, right? And I think that was the hardest thing, is seeing it, right? Like seeing it and not expressing how I'm feeling. And I remember, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, I asked her, did you ever pick up on, you know, like when you two were having, you know, discussion in the car, or when he would do something, because he would do some things where I'm like, right? But I would bite my tongue and just allow them to be and allow them to learn, because this was his first relationship too.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? And so it being a parent and just being able to and having to know that, okay, you're just here to witness, you're here to see, you're here to like love on her when she needs you to love on her and give her advice when she asks for advice.
Yeah.
Right. But allow her to grow through it. I think as a parent, that's the hardest thing, is being there to allow them to experience what they have to experience and for them to grow through it. Yeah. And as much as I'm a coach, there's things that I help my clients with, being more of a mom than a coach to her. And she will tell me, Mom, like when I'm stepping into it and I don't ask to give advice, but she'll say, Mom. And then I'm like, okay, I'm sorry.
Step back,
like,
pull it back a little bit.
Yeah. And then I'm done. I'm like, I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
So she helps me to become aware when I'm overstepping like her boundaries.
That's good.
Which is great.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah.
And we have not yet had to, with Joey's still young at heart, and he's still, he's 13. He's a young 13, so we haven't had to really.
Yeah. Dude, there's something that I was thinking recently with Joey. He's such a sweetheart, such a good kid. He's just has such a kind heart, just like the way he is, his personality and everything about him.
But he has a very strong personality as well. Very strong.
Yes.
I can totally see him rebelling.
Yeah.
And
it would be hard because of the way he is, his character. Because he's very sweet and very soft, but there is like this very serious, strong side to him that he doesn't let out. Yeah.
It's you.
Well,
he lets it out.
What I've been thinking about recently is like just today. He's been asking for a bunch of stuff, right? And he's been getting excited about, he got a transformer and he's wants to get this, or he's got this 3D printer and he's got this microscope. And, sometimes he'll slack a little bit on some of the things that he's supposed to be taking care of, because we also have a lot of people over right now. Our schedule is completely off. Like, we're not doing things the days that we're normally doing things. And he's been slipping on some of his stuff. So today I told him, I'm like, dude, I've been watching and you've been slacking. You need to pick your shit up. Like, straight up, just like that. He's 13. I'm like, dude, you need to stay on top of your shit. Right? And the other day.
Hold on. Did you pick up on his response, by the way?
No, what was it?
His voice got deeper. He was in the pantry, so you could not see his facial response to your comment. But his voice was like, yeah. Like, it got deeper. Like, he was like, you know what I'm saying?
Well, this is something that I've been thinking about, yeah. So a couple weeks ago, or like a week ago, we're at the dinner table, like right by the kitchen. And Sonia's in the kitchen cooking, and I'm getting ready to sit down just to kind of talk to you and sit with the family. And he goes to pull my chair out. Like, if he pulls it out, I'm going to hit the ground. Right?
Yeah.
And, you do that when you're a teenager. That's one thing. But when you're 41, like, I don't want to be fucking hitting the ground. Right. Like, it's a prank, a joke or whatever. Right. But I don't want to hit the fucking ground.
Right.
So in that moment, I didn't fall. Like, I ended up sitting on the edge of the chair and didn't fall down. And Joey's giggling. And I turned and I looked at him and I was like, if I fell down, I would have beat your ass.
You didn't say that.
It just came out. Or I might have said,
because I was in there.
I might have.
You need to know when to.
Or I might have just straight up said, I would have beat your ass, like that. And then after that, I told him, you need to know when and who to fucking play with, like that. And whatever, babe. I'm
listening to you.
So, but it was just kind of like an instinct thing. But I know that this is just like a nature thing between animals, really, is what it is.
Yeah.
He's 13. In a few years, he's going to be bigger and stronger than me. Yeah. It's not going to be long. Yeah. There is always a time where the father has to fucking check the son and let them know you're not ready yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And with Joey being how he is, like, I want to, like, I don't want that. I want us to grow together. We don't have to check each other. And I don't want that. Mm-hmm. But I can see it coming.
Yeah.
Like little by little, with little things here and there. It's like, hey, you don't fuck around with me like that. I'm not a little kid.
Yeah. And, you know, there's times where you have to check him when he responds to me in a different way.
Right. Yeah. The other day when there was some, I think, somebody was here and I just had to turn and tell him, like, I better not hear that shit again with your mom or whatever, something.
Yeah. Yeah. Because he does, and he has these looks that if they would kill, I would be dead. You know what I'm saying? Like he doesn't even have to say anything. He just gives you this deadly stare. And I'm like, dude.
But I think it's also like when you are unconscious about stuff. This is animal shit. Because it doesn't have to be this way. I don't have to snap at him and be like, if I would have hit the ground, I would fuck you up. Mm-hmm. It could be like, hey, man, I get that you would do that in your class and that's funny. Mm-hmm. But that's not how you joke with your dad.
See, and that's what I was just going to talk about, because we all have a very playful relationship.
And we should. There's nothing wrong with that.
So, and Audrey gets it. So yesterday when you were out with all your, you know, your friends,
my homies
in the backyard playing,
yeah,
Audrey and I put some music on, and I went up to her and started dancing on her, right? And we just started dancing, and we started talking, and then somehow that playfulness turned into like us wrestling.
Okay.
Right? And playing around, and I don't even have to say like anything with her. She just like understands and gets it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like when to stop or when to, like, she just understands that.
Yeah. You get a feel for it.
And I haven't had to say anything to her, but there's times where there's a time to play and then there's a time like to chill, right? Because we have such a playful relationship with our children, when we're in front of other adults, there's an older generation that my dad, my mom, that's just totally disrespectful, right? Like there's a certain, or like with your mom, like with your mom, with Jeff.
It's just understanding the context.
So it's
and
like,
everything.
how do you teach them that? By maybe having these conversations with that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because he was just playing with you, and then you snapped at him, but he doesn't understand that yet. So he got just a tad offended
in a way,
that.
In a way, that's how you learn. When the lion is laying under the tree and the cub keeps fucking with him and the lion fucking snaps at him, the cub finds out to leave the fucking lion alone.
Yeah.
But like you were saying, I think, you know, one thing that I just thought of was like the difference between, I think, sometimes men and women, because like you were saying, like Audrey just kind of gets it.
Yeah.
And with guys, like you hear when a woman is trying to tell a dude something, but they don't directly tell him, they never fucking get it. Right? It's
That's
like,
what I had to talk to Audrey about.
You know what I mean? They never fucking get it. You got to be like, direct. This is what I want. And it's like, oh shit, I never knew that. You know what I mean? So like with Joey, it might be the same. It's like, he's just not there. He's like, hey, this is funny.
Right.
And then it's like, bro, no. Like, would you do that to your grandfather? No, you wouldn't. I'm getting there. Like, I'm right in between. I'm not one of your friends. I'm not your grandfather, but like, we can play. You just got to look at shit.
Yeah. But there's also a respect level, right?
It's like judging. It's judgment.
Is that common sense?
It is.
Okay.
It's common sense.
So how do you
it's
teach
part of
common
judgment.
sense?
I don't know. Talking to them, snapping at them, all that shit. But anyway, there was something that I wanted to get to real quick before we get out of here. Because it's, you know, we've been talking a lot about like things being the way they are. Like, it just is what it is. And there's a lot of things that get people thinking a certain way that we've talked about in the past. And in the past, we've shit on Joe Biden. and Sleepy Joe and all this shit. And
we're going to end with this.
We're going to end with this. But we live in Arizona, and, you know, a lot of times you're out here and it's Trump ride or die. Like, you know, it's all about Trump. Mm-hmm. And I feel there are some things that maybe he's done good. I just don't know too much to like really have a strong opinion about stuff.
Yeah.
You know, but one thing that I do know is that he recently did the podcast with Joe Rogan, right? And I do watch Joe Rogan stuff when he has comedians and interesting stuff, science stuff. I'll check it out. And in my YouTube, I also watch stuff that comes up about the news. Trump's always coming up. I mean, even if you're on the other side, you're watching Trump because that's what you do, right? So on my YouTube, if Rogan and Trump do a podcast, that should be suggested. You would think that would be front page for people like me that watch both of those things. Mm-hmm. Nowhere near suggested. I heard about it. I scroll on YouTube, can't find it. Keep scrolling, can't find it. I go to the search bar and I search Rogan Trump or Trump Rogan, just those two words, which, I mean, if there was just a podcast with the former president and the biggest podcast in the world, you would think that's all you need to pull it up. Search it. There's a couple clips, but you cannot find the podcast. Scrolling, you can't find it. I had to search Joe Rogan, then his podcast comes up, then you click on the podcast, then you go to his recent releases, then you can find the podcast. The podcast at this point has like 34 million views, 37 million views. And I click on the comments, and the first 50 comments that have thousands of likes are all about YouTube blocking the podcast.
Like they're going to block this episode.
Probably. Fuck it. You know? And dude, that should be illegal. Like, I mean, it's tens, like 50, crazy. Maybe 100 posts, all of them saying it would be nice if YouTube would share this podcast or suggest it or, you know, whatever. Like, you have to literally go and look for it. Now, that's fucking terrible because this dude's running for president and we should be able to hear what the hell he has to say, regardless of how you feel or what you think.
Right.
Then we start listening to the podcast. And there's a lot of stuff that I support, I guess, that for one thing, I don't think Trump is with all the woke bullshit, and I'm not down with any of that. So if you don't like it, that I am this way or that we maybe think, you can make your own opinion. I don't give a fuck. You guys can leave if you want. And I'm sorry if you feel that way. But Sleepy Joe's not going to do shit if something happens in anything. Like anything could fucking happen. Look at where we're headed. I don't think he's capable of doing anything at all. And we don't even have to worry about him because he's proved it. He's out of the race. The other lady, I haven't heard anything about anything positive that she's really done. The little bit that I do know is a fucking disaster. Trump maybe seems like a better option, but that dude, you guys want to fucking keep it real. Seems like he does some decent things, but he seems like he's volatile as fuck. Like we could be at war from something that he says at any minute. Calling North Korea fucking a tiny rocket man. It's like, all right, dude, it's good to be strong, but you don't have to fucking poke people all the goddamn time. It's like shit. So we start listening to this podcast, and dude, the first 40 minutes was nonsense, babbling. What would you call it? You don't want to even say anything. You don't have to. It's fine. You guys go fucking watch it for yourself. This shit was a fucking disaster. Like, I don't know what the hell he was talking about. Yeah. Like, when you're on the biggest podcast on the planet and you know people are going to listen, you're running for the future president of the United States, you would think that you would come in guns fucking blazing with what you're going to do, how the other side fucking sucks, and what your plan is for the future. Did you hear any of that?
Yeah.
It was fucking babbling. So, real quick, let's get into...
hey, your time's up.
Just a clip of... just to kind of pick up just a little section, because I want you guys to hear. This is the way Trump chose to spend his time on the biggest podcast on the planet.
Man, and there were a number of them. But
he's
I
talking
defeated
about ISIS.
with the greatest generals. I had a guy who was so great. I flew to Iraq, and I met the real generals, not these idiots that we deal with. And we knocked out, I defeated 100% of the ISIS caliphate. They said it would take 5 years. I did it in a matter of literally a few weeks. And we hit them hard. And he said, so we're going to hit him here, we're going to hit him there, we're going to hit him here, there.
Everywhere.
And I said, this guy's great. I like this guy. I was told it would take 5 years. That's why I went. I said, how could it take 5 years? We have brand new fighters. We have the best planes, the best weapons, the best guns, the best bombs. How could it possibly take that long? And I flew and left at 3 o'clock in the morning. Nobody knew I was going. I got on Air Force One and we started flying.
What does that have to do with fucking
and
ISIS?
And when we reached about half an hour away from Iraq,
I thought we were talking about ISIS.
The airport was, big airport. About a half an hour away, they said, sir, I'm sorry, you'll have to turn off all your lights. Why? We're getting close to our site, our land. I said, you mean we spent $8 trillion and we can't leave the lights? So think of this, 20 years,
I thought we were talking about ISIS.
And we can't leave the lights on in a plane. I said, that's okay, turn the lights on. I'm not going to fight
turn
this
the
one.
lights
This is because it's too dangerous?
Yeah, too dangerous, because they see the light up in the air and they'll shoot at it,
Turn the lights
off. I said, turn the lights off. Then they said, so we're going to also pull your shades if that's okay. I said, that's okay. The plane was pitch black, all the lights outside, the blinking, they go the blinking
fucking lights, dude.
They were all turned off.
They had to turn all the lights off in case you guys didn't know.
And these guys are specimens. I always say they're better looking than Tom Cruise. Okay.
The pilots.
And they're even taller.
And the lights were out.
Like perfect specimens.
In the dark.
These guys, like for a fighter, you have some guys that are perfect specimens. These
right.
Guys.
In the dark, though.
And, they picked the best pilots in the Air Force, United States Air Force, to fly Air Force One. And
in case you guys didn't know that.
And I'm sitting, and I'm feeling my way up. It's up on
because it was dark.
So you go through the stairs, but I sort of knew my way up. There wasn't a light in the plane. I'm saying, can you imagine? We spent trillions of dollars, and
what the fuck are we talking about?
Flying blind. But I got into the plane. The cockpit is dark black, little tiny light. You could see the pilot. A perfect looking human.
There was
being.
one light.
His co-pilot. Everybody was perfect. They were all like movie stars. It's like I could have cast a movie with these guys and nobody would believe it because they were too good looking.
What are we talking about?
So I said, how are we doing, Captain? Sir, we'll be landing in 10 minutes. And I look outside. There's not a light. And
not a light.
I've landed a lot of planes. And you see like little lights at least. It has the computer sign saying 1,000.
Dude, so I'll just finish it up. You guys can go back and watch that. That was at 1 hour and 34 minutes on the Joe Rogan podcast. You guys go check that out. Right after that, he lands and meets with like our generals or like our special forces guys. He made it seem like he lands they landed in the dark, which makes sense. This is Air Force One with the president on it. They're going to fly in with all the fucking lights out. That's how it works. And he gets off the plane and he makes it seem like they're meeting on the fucking runway or some shit like that. And he turns and he tells Joe Rogan, he's like, if this was Joe Biden, he wouldn't have even went. Or he would have slept for 4 days and then he would have left without a meeting. Dude, I was like dying laughing when he said that, but I'm just like, what?
Oh my goodness.
Are you fucking like really? This was a 2 hour and 58 minute podcast. The first 40 minutes was like, I think, garbage, bullshit. I don't know what the fuck this was. Like they were talking about ISIS, but then we talked about lights for fucking how long?
Yeah.
What?
And how good looking the pilot.
And how good looking they could have been in a movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, do we not have fucking problems in the world?
Yeah. Yeah, it's nuts.
Are people not fucking each other up on the other side of the planet?
Yeah.
Like what? So if you guys like, and that's the thing. Fuck Joe Biden and the other side. But you're going to act like this side is fucking like we got it together.
Right. Yeah.
Bro, they're all fucked up. So don't come. It's a sign. It's a sign. If your team is all just listen to what I just played you if you're a fucking Trump fan. And then go look at the dude that's in right now if you're on the other side. And his sidekick.
Yeah.
Don't fucking play yourself.
Yeah. But if shit goes down, Which one?
At least the crazy guy is down to fucking scrap with people, you know, like, I mean, at the end of the day, sometimes, what is it? There's a saying about having a big stick, you know, sometimes you fucking got to wave it around and back motherfuckers up and say, you know.
So with that,
make sure you guys go to our website. You guys may not even get to listen to this one. We'll see what happens. I mean, if they block Joe Rogan's, they're probably going to block this one too. So make sure you guys probably catch it on Facebook. Follow us on all of our social media at Opposite Pod. Go to our website, Opposite to Track Podcast. Share one of the other clips with somebody else.
Miguel's always talking shit.
You know, I already said, we didn't start this shit. We started this to talk about what we want to talk about and bring people along for the ride. And we're glad you guys are here with us for it.
Thank you guys for your love. Thank you for your support. And thank you for watching Opposites Attract Podcast.
Where we get better
together. Bye.